Increasingly, we found that new inquiries are coming from people who want to re-engage with the countryside and source their own sustainable wild food rather than purchasing intensively farmed alternatives. By harvesting this fabulous, sustainable, widely available food source, you're also contributing to the biodiversity of the countryside. This is something that at County Deer Stalking and the Capreolus Club we embrace. Sustainability, after all, is the future, and there's no greater sense of achievement than being able to provide food for your family and friends that you've harvested yourself. Taking the PDS1 Proficient Deer Stalker Level 1 course is a great place to learn how to do so. It's a nationally recognised deer stalking course that has been running for over a decade and is accredited by both the UK's leading land-based awarding bodies, LANTRA and UK Rural Skills. LANTRA itself is overseen by both the British Standards Institute and Ofqual. What's more, the course now comes with a large game meat food hygiene course that complies with FSA guidelines that are designed to enable candidates to become trained hunters and place large game meat on the market for human consumption. More on that later. We want the PDS1 to become the UK's deer stalking course of choice, and we want you to help. So we're going to give you something back. We recognise that in the UK it's excellent people on the ground like you that are the lifeblood of deer management, and that it's often people like you that are responsible for introducing beginners to the sport. So we've launched a simple recommendation scheme that is designed to reward you for recommending the PDS1. The process couldn't be simpler. If you know someone that's interested in taking up deer stalking, simply tell them about the course, and when they enrol, we'll give you £100 as a thank you. What's more, we'll also donate £10 to charity. It couldn't be simpler. Step 1, recommend the PDS1 course. Step 2, let us know who you've recommended. Step 3, your recommendee enrolls. And step 4, we give you £100 and donate £10 to charity. If you know someone that wants to get into deer stalking, give it a try. Mention the PDS1 to them and send a quick email to info@countydeerstalking.co.uk with their name. And in one swoop, you'll have introduced someone to deer stalking, made a contribution to charity, and have earned £100 to boot. So there's only a couple of days now until the end of the season for females, and we've had clients pretty much throughout the season. We tend to do most of our culling with clients, and we're fortunate enough to find that most of our clients are up to the job. But essentially there is a job to be done, and on this ground we haven't shot enough deer quite this year. We've still got a few more to go, particularly fallow does. So I've decided to come out on my own today and be a little bit ruthless probably, because there are a few more animals that I'd like to get to hit our cull targets. So we're going to see how we get on, and fingers crossed we'll have a little bit of luck. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. We've got just right up there on the brow of the hill, we've got probably a dozen fallow, and they're an absolute bugger to get at. They're good sort of 300-400 yards away at the moment. They've got a backstop, which is great, but we're probably going to be in for a fairly rangy shot if we're going to stand half a chance of getting on them. The good news is that it's a blissfully still day, and if you are taking rangy shots, you need a stable platform and you also need a very still day. If it's windy at all, if you've got a blustery day, then you want to keep your ranges a little bit closer. But we'll give it a try. We'll stalk in, and I noticed in actual fact there's a couple of roe up there as well. So we're going to have a little look at them, see what we've got, and fingers crossed we'll have a little bit of luck on a fallow doe or two. Okay, so as I say, it's probably going to be a long, hard stalk and then a fairly rangy shot, I suspect. But let's not get overexcited. Do your due diligence, check everything, make sure that everything is safe before you set off, because it's all very well getting excited and thinking we're going to get on something, but sometimes that's when accidents happen. So we'll do our checks in a minute, and then fingers crossed we'll be able to stalk in a little bit closer. So we've got a little bit of a walk in here. We found some low ground, so we're going to duck along a few hundred meters. Now, I usually shoot off a javelin bipod from Spartan, but apologies Rob, I haven't got that with me today. So I've got my pack with me, so I'm going to use that Highland stalker trick of shooting off a backpack, which I think will serve, you know, a good purpose for today, and should mean that I can get a nice stable rest. We'll come a bit further and then we'll have to get into a crawl. Okay, we're in a really good position here. I'm not going to need my shooting sticks, so I'm going to leave those there. I'm going to go for the backpack. They're still, I'm guessing, so I'm going to tell you what, let's range find them. Yeah, still a very long way off. About 356 meters at the moment. Thing is, there's a lot of eyes. There's about 15 pairs of eyes, and fallow got very good eyesight. So looks like I'm in for quite a long crawl at the moment. So I'm going to leave some of my gear here and start heading out there into that field. And as I say, we want to knock off maybe 50 to 100 yards if we can, but we'll see how we get on. Okay, here we go. Problem is, A, it's blooming hard work, and B, we're already coming over the brow, so we're in sight of them already. I don't honestly know how much ground I'm going to be able to knock off, so it's going to be rangy. Let's see if we can get a bit closer. They all stood up. And then moving off a little bit. I don't want us to have to lose our backstop. Let's have a look. $320. Let's have a little look. See how this looks. Nice little trick here. Get the binoculars underneath the butt of your gun. Let's have a look. Absolutely rock solid. We've got a DS scope, so I'm just going to check the range. We normally do this. This is a long shot. We've got a very flat shooting caliber in the form of a 300 Win Mag, so a minimum of drop. Got our DS scope, so we've got a flat shooting caliber. It's a beautifully still day. Got a perfect backstop, and we've got enough oomph with this caliber, whereby if we put it anywhere in the heart and lung cavity area, we'll have a good killing shot. So yes, it's a long way, but essentially there's a job to do here, so I think we're going to give it a go. Stone dead. Really pleased with that actually. Ran about 20 yards and then dropped, which is absolutely brilliant. Really confident with that shot. As I say, that is by far and away the exception. Shots over 300 meters, well, realistically only take a few of those actually on deer every year, but needs must. And we've got this perfect weather for it. It's absolutely perfectly still, so I didn't need to have to worry about any wind drift, so that's brilliant. Right choice of caliber today, 300 Win Mag, flat as a pancake out to that sort of distance, but to be doubly sure, we had the DS scope, so that just adjusted the reticule by just a tiny bit, and that gave me the confidence to be able to aim bang on the kill zone and be sure that this had done the job. Good blaster rifle as well, nice solid cheek piece. And then with a couple of tricks, as I say, apologies Rob, I haven't got your javelin bipod today, but I got my backpack, which is rock solid, and by just putting my binoculars under the stock there, where you can see, it's like shooting off a perfect bench, isn't it? It's perfectly rock solid, and stability is probably one of the most important things when it comes to good marksmanship. That and practice, of course. But we've got a dead deer over there. It's collapsed. I'm going to stay where I am for just a few more minutes nonetheless, just make sure it doesn't get back up again. But all things being well, I've got a nice yearling fallow doe there, and we'll go down there in a little while, do our eye blink, and then recover her. we've got a little bit of a walk down to go and recover this animal. You know, one of the things about food hygiene, one of the things that we're covering in the food hygiene course, is that it's all very well understanding about how to examine the deer once it's dead, but there's an awful lot about the process which involves observing the animal and seeing if it's behaving normally. You want to be watching your deer ideally if you've got time, and you need to note any abnormalities in its behaviour, which would be of course disclosable when you came to submit that into the human food chain. But we watched those animals for a good long period. All look to be behaving absolutely normally, which is very reassuring. And of course when we get up to that animal, one of the things we're going to do is do an external inspection, and then of course an internal examination of the internal organs. Yeah, brilliant. Good solid heart and lung shot. Really pleased with that. Good kit, and as I say, perfect conditions. And yeah, as I say, there's a job to do. You know, it's great being able to take clients out, and it's something that I absolutely love doing. You know, I shot a lot of deer, and to be able to impart a little bit of know-how and to be able to watch people go out there and harvest their own food from the countryside is something I take enormous pleasure from. So really good result today. Nice to be able to be in the driving seat myself for once, as I say, and nice to be able to do something about the high deer numbers over here. So, as promised, more about that food hygiene course. Currently, many deer stalkers in the UK harvest and consume wild game whilst having very little food hygiene training. This is something that we feel needed to be addressed, and so here at County Deer Stalking, through the UK Shooting and Hunting Academy, we're now including a food hygiene training element to the LANTRA and UKRS approved PDS1 that we believe will be of significant benefit to PDS1 candidates. The certificated course complies with Food Standards Agency FSA guidelines that enable candidates to become trained hunters and place large game meat on the market for human consumption. To undertake this course, simply enrol on the PDS1 via the Shooting and Hunting Academy, and you'll be able to complete the large game meat hygiene element upon completion of the PDS1. If you've previously taken the PDS1 course, you'll shortly be contacted with an invitation to complete this important element of your hunter training. After all, it's crucial as hunters that we educate ourselves about the pathology of wild deer so that we can ensure that we are getting the most from this wonderful, healthy food source.